Welcome, 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 and welcome to each and every one of you here at this spectacular live stream for the Court Martial Podcast. I am your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty, clipping out a frame. And I am excited to bring this match in. First of all, it's great to be back here on a live stream. It has been 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks, because the first, not last week, but the week before was Josh Again's whole situation, or that was last week that we had the podcast, and then the week before, I forget what happened the week before, but in any case, we are here now, and that's what matters, to watch Drew McIntyre versus Kane for the Intercontinental Championship at Elimination Chamber 2010. A couple fun facts about this one. This was the first time that Elimination Chamber was branded as its own pay-per-view. You know, at that point, there was still No Way Out in 2009, and No Way Out had been used for that February pay-per-view up to that point. I think that started, I want to say that was one of the In Your Houses initially, but it did, of course, it became a staple. That I think the earliest one I could think of is 2000. I could be wrong on that, but 2000 all the way up until 2009, they used that as the February pay-per-view, and then, of course, eventually that led to Elimination Chamber, and then, of course, the rebranding of all the pay-per-views to signify whatever gimmick match they were doing that day, and which some can argue was not the greatest of decisions, especially when all the sets became the same, and then they had to have multiple of those particular gimmick matches on the night. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So this was the first time that the Elimination Chamber was named Elimination Chamber the pay-per-view. The second thing that's interesting about this is, of course, this is Drew McIntyre's rookie year, as he's stated many times before. And, of course, Drew, I seriously thought that at the time of this recording that Drew McIntyre would still be WWE champion. But, of course, recent developments have to be taken into account. And even more recently, as yesterday, as we saw what happened with The Miz at Elimination Chamber. Of course, you heard our review of that, which went nearly as long as the show, which may or may not be a good thing. And perhaps there should be a little more editing and trimming of superfluous material, but we'll talk about that another time. Drew McIntyre, now we know right how, and I'm not going to spoil it because we're going to talk about it in the news. When we do on this Friday's podcast, we're going to talk about it in the news about Bobby Lashley and his ascent and MVP and all that. And so stay tuned for that. And I guess this is a nice little subtle transition into what we're doing next, which is this Friday is mine, your Colonial Champion's 28th birthday. So, and because we don't have any streamers here at the dungeon and no party favors, what we're going to do is we're going to do what we always do, and that's have a terrific podcast. We're going to talk about the wrestling news, a la recent developments in the WWE Championship picture, as well as whatever Skylar is able to procure. We're going to have the match of the week. Of course, that's this. We are going to talk about, I was going to talk about Edge, but I kind of want to talk more about MVP. Now that he has come and turned Bobby into what Bobby is, and with his work with the Hurt Business, I would really like to see what it is that he can do from here. You know, he's accomplished so much, and I just want to acknowledge that as such. So we're going to talk about MVP. We're going to talk about the match of the week, and we're going to talk about Uncle Dave, the man they call Dave Meltzer. I originally was going to put this on the anniversary show, but of course that got postponed. So now we're going to go back, and we're going to talk about Dave Meltzer, Skylar, and myself. I'm going to talk about Dave Meltzer because that was the very first topic I ever chose for the Court Martial Podcast since the reboot. And I felt it necessary to re-examine Dave, mostly because a lot's changed with Dave Meltzer in just a year's time, with AEW now sticking around for the long haul. So it's going to be a really interesting look into the life and times of Dave Meltzer. So stick around for that. That's happening this Friday. So that's going to be that. So why don't we get right into this? Drew McIntyre versus Kane. Fun fact about Kane, this is going to be the year that he also beats The Undertaker, beats Rey Mysterio, wins Money in the Bank, beats Rey Mysterio for it in the same night, and then defeats The Undertaker in a series of lackluster matches, one of which we saw on the Core Martial podcast. And it's a very interesting year for Kane. Probably maybe one of Kane's best without the mask, even though where Kane was headed wasn't going to be too hot. This was probably Kane at probably the last really major peak, running into 2011 with his stuff with Edge. All of that was so good that really, to me, was really the peak Kane, that was the peak unmasked Kane, that as far as how they viewed him in the company. And that's where this match derives from. So let's see how this goes. We're going to do the full match here. Of course, we're going to start at 0-0-0. The match, which I did not put in the description, which I should have. The match is Drew McIntyre versus Kane, and I'm going to do that now. And I should have been doing this as we were... Oh, okay, here we go. I should have been doing this as I was telling you about the moves that are being made as we speak, as far as developments in the Core Martial podcast and what we're doing. And now in the live chat, it has been posted. So for those of you doing it, but I will speak it to you anyway. It is Drew McIntyre versus Kane, Intercontinental title match, Elimination Chamber 2010 from WWE. So I tried something different this time, and I'm not sure it's going to work. But we tried something different this time. So what I did was I went from the beginning where I got the ad all the way to the end and got the final ad, and now I replayed it. So we're going to try. We may not be successful, but we're going to try to watch this in its entirety, but I have a feeling that this is not going to work and that they're not going to be fooled by this, and they're going to throw us ads in anyway. So we will do the best we can. I'll give you the timestamps if we need it, but let's get this going. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh, yeah! I forgot about this theme, which I do not want to get penalized for, so I'm going to talk through this. This is Drew McIntyre's Broken Dreams music, which one could argue is probably the best music that they've come up with in some time. So, okay. Everyone, the Colonial Mother yelling from the top. My laundry's done, so I got to go get my laundry when we're done with this. But we've got a title match to watch first. I love those Scottish pads on his knees, by the way. Now, it kind of sounds like they're running all the way through the... they're going through the whole song. He's not really getting much of a reaction from anybody, is he? Tony Chimmel. Oh, God. Oh, Michael Cole. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Matt Stryker. I'm sorry. That was Matt Stryker. Matt Stryker I like. I thought that was Michael Cole, and I was going to be very irritated. But I forgot this was on SmackDown. But that was King. That can't be Josh Matthews. Here comes Kane. Kane looking good. No, that was Michael Cole. That was Michael Cole. Okay, okay. Had to be sure, but yes. Okay, so we've got the three-man team of Kane, Jerry the King Lawler, and Matt Stryker. One of those three people at this time I liked. Can you take a guess who it was? It's Matt Stryker. King was just phoning it in at this point in his career. I mean, that's what it was. I just didn't care for... I feel like King was trying too hard. Like, he was kind of trying to force himself to be PC because he wanted to not be so badly. And I don't think that King ever had chemistry with Michael Cole. I think those two just did not have chemistry on commentary. And it really hurt King at the end of it. Because interestingly enough, well, we'll talk about Jerry another time. But interestingly enough, when it comes to announcing, he's better depending on who he's working with. When he had JR, it was great. Oh, what an uppercut. I've never seen this match before. This is completely new to me. I was kind of off of WWE at this point. Oh, what a basement drop kick by Kane. That was a surprise. No, and this is, of course, Kane's going to be teaching Drew a lot here, I would imagine. That was amazing. What a drop kick. I don't think I've ever seen Kane do that before or since. You know, Matt, that was an interesting point, but I don't know if the stat really backs that up. Yeah, I was thinking, I've never seen Kane grapple this much. Oh, and we didn't escape the ads. So we tried, but we failed because, of course, they're just too crafty. 15-second unskippable. Great. I will let you know when we pop back in. Got another 5 seconds. Four minutes and 13 seconds. 4:15 now. 18. 4:20, blazing. Well, what's interesting is that this Kane has really been grappling with Drew, and I think that's atypical, but also shows that they wanted Kane to teach Drew here in this match. I think. What a neck breaker! What? Kane wrestling like Triple H on roids right now. Oh my God. Kane is on another level right here. Side of the corner. You can kind of tell how green Drew is here. I mean, it's not that he's bad. It's just that his positioning isn't great. And he does not look anywhere near the physical specimen that he would, and he does now. Oh, and they'd already done the Batista Championship at the end. That had already happened at this point. Oh, no wonder they don't care, because the fans have got to be completely gassed after all of that. No wonder the crowd is completely dead for this. Yeah, no wonder Kane's pulling out all the stops, too. He's like, all right, I'm going to hit him with a drop kick. I'm going to hit this. Kane a little slow to get to Drew there. Yeah, God, even Drew's paying that they have now. I mean, Drew, when he hits a punch, he goes, he really gets a nice little, like, right into the spot that he needs to get it to. And these just look sloppy. He's like overheading it. Matt Stryker putting in 100% of the legwork here in the commentary. There's a legacy sign in front. Interesting timing on that. Wonder if people booed Cena. Do I remember people had booed Cena winning that chamber, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they did, but I mean 2010, yeah, that's peak John Cena, peak everyone hating John Cena. especially because the Nexus was coming. Drew also not really doing much in the facials department. He's got quads of steel, though. Does Drew McIntyre. But his upper body just doesn't seem to match. It's a good bump, though. He wasn't the world's greatest arm breaker. It's really interesting how technical this match is, which kind of tells me that a lot of this is really training on the road. I mean, I wouldn't quantify this as a training match. I mean, Drew's doing fine. It's just that you know that Kane is leading this pretty significantly. I'm really sad that Matt Stryker doesn't get more work. He may not be the world's greatest commentator, but I always thought that when he took his stuff seriously, he did a great job of getting his stuff over. And getting the people over. Oh, what a boot. He breaks he does break more than I like, but something tells I don't know why, but wrestling in a hair tie just seems like it's so cumbersome. Because it always comes undone. When I had long hair, I was like, there's no way that I'd be able to wrestle with long hair. Cover, Kane, and no. Man, Matt Stryker putting in work here. That was a weak kick out. That was weak. Not even like desperation weak. It was just weak. Oh, top rope clothesline. This crowd's still dead. They're totally gassed. You can still see people filing in from getting all their stuff. I will give the crowd credit. They're starting to get into this. It took a little bit, but they're starting to get the people back. Although Drew's not getting any heat. And just as I say that, Drew's averting, but it's kind of like Kane reaction, Drew no reaction. It's not cheers and boos, it's cheers and nothing. Now, if he had taken that bump the way that Foley used to take those off the side bumps, I think that would have given him a little bit more to do, but I think that ended up being a softer landing. I'm not blaming Drew for taking a landing that's not going to break his back, because look how much rehab Foley's had to take, but oh, kick to the face. We got to be nearing the end here. I have to imagine. Oh, yeah, we're getting close. Oh, I guess I only had one ad. Well, that's nice. Drew's starting to leave. Now the crowd's starting to get into this. It just took a while to get going. Oh, Kevin Dunn remembered the lights. Got the spotlights on now. Oh, come on. Don't have this end in double count out. No, they're not. I was going to say. Because it makes sense with Umaga, but it doesn't make sense anywhere else. Get him back in the. Come on, Kane. Don't do that. Okay. You wonder with only like a minute to spare in this match, you get worried about shifty endings like that. But I think they might just. The hell? Oh, because he got into the ropes. Future Shock, which he sold very well. Well, okay. I'll take it. I will take it. Because it is, he could only win by cheating, and then that's the only way he won. Because Kane whipped his ass the entire match. Was right. Although, I would have liked, if you were going to do that, I would have liked for, if he was going to be backed into the ropes like that, right? They were going to back him into the ropes like that. Then what I would have done, if the ref was going to get into that, is have, come and try to like go underneath the ropes. Like sometimes when they're like doing that feeling out at the beginning, and heels will be like, and they'll like duck underneath the ropes to get behind, but they'll still technically their feet will still be in the ring. Have him do that or something like that. So then the ref can be like, oh, he's outside. Then that I think better shows the break and displays the break. And that's just me. And then everything else with that was fine. And proving that he had the cheat. Although I would have liked a little bit more of the cheating from Drew, but I think that the fact that he got his ass whipped by Kane was probably enough. And that was great by Kane. Kane looked awesome. And, not for nothing, they tried to make Drew look better here, but I think he was green. But still, honestly, this match was not bad. I actually enjoyed this match for what it was. For what Kane looked good, Drew was doing for the story it told. I'm okay with it. It could have been worse. I understand what they did and why they did it, but there's this is just all part of the path to Drew's ultimate success, and that's all that we can be thankful for. So, with that said, it's time to wrap up this live stream. I will see all of you very soon, 3 days from now, on my birthday for the Court Martial Podcast. Stay tuned for that. Thank you all for coming to this wonderful live stream, and we will see you next time, everybody. Take care, y'all.